Hello, my name is Matt Wilhelm from Invasive Species Action Network in Livingston, Montana. And today I'm working with Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks to show you the activity Clean Boat, Dirty Boat. Clean Boat, Dirty Boat is a great activity that you can take into the classroom or use for any type of event for adults or kids, conservation events, what have you, to show students and adults how aquatic invasive species are spread, and also to show them the importance of cleaning, draining, and drying your watercraft after every single use so that we are not vectors for the spread of aquatic invasive species. Aquatic invasive species are spread on boats, jet skis, canoes, kayaks, float tubes, waders, pretty much any type of watercraft or gear that can touch water. So, Clean Boat, Dirty Boat is a fun activity that's easy to use. It's got basic materials that you can teach people in a quick and easy way how aquatic invasive species are spread, how to clean, how to drain, how to dry, so that you are not a vector for spread for aquatic invasive species. All right, so now we're going to talk about all of the materials that are included in the Clean Boat, Dirty Boat activity. First of all, you will have a full set of instructions. These instructions are easy to follow. It gives you instructions that go right down the list as far as how to conduct this activity. It also has a full list of all the materials that you see here, which I'm going to talk about right now. First of all, you have an inflatable globe. That's like a beach ball. And as we go through the activity later, you'll see how the beach ball is incorporated. You've got a plastic toy watercraft. You have simulated aquatic invasive species, which is basically just dillweed. Nice thing about this dillweed is that after you run out, you can always go to the store and buy a little bit more to refill your little container. 2 plastic wash basins. These wash basins are going to represent water bodies, lakes, and we will show you how this is used later when we actually go through the activity. We have a cleaning towel, because we're going to talk about cleaning and draining and drying our watercraft today. So here's our little cleaning towel. And in this red cup, this is just water. This is going to be the water that I'm going to use for cleaning the dillweed off of the watercraft. If you're in a classroom, you could use the faucet that's in the classroom. You can bring a gallon water jug if you're working with more than one group. This is kind of a one-use amount of water for cleaning. But if you're working with like an all-day conservation event, or you're doing this several times in a row, you might want to have a bigger vessel of water like a gallon milk jug to use. So these are the real basic materials for Clean Boat, Dirty Boat. It's a fun activity to use, like I said, in the classroom or with a group of adults or a sporting group or a conservation group. And it helps to show how aquatic invasive species are spread and how we can clean our gear every time. All right, so now I'm going to do a complete run through of the Clean Boat, Dirty Boat activity. And as I do this run through, I'm going to explain this activity as to that you, my audience, are a bunch of 3rd or 4th graders. So here we go. All right, everybody, how are we doing today? My name's Matt Wilhelm from Invasive Species Action Network, and today we're going to do an activity called Clean Boat, Dirty Boat. Now, the reason we're going to do this today is we're going to teach you about aquatic invasive species. Aquatic invasive species are bad. They come from other parts of the world, like Russia and China. Now, I've got this little globe here to show you where they come from. We live right about here in the United States and Montana. Now, these aquatic invasive species come from way over the Pacific Ocean, places like Russia and China over here. And a lot of these aquatic invasive species will come over to the United States in the ballast water of large ocean ships. Now, ballast water is a way that boats have ballast water so that they can remain balanced on the ocean and sail safely across. But when those big ships get to the United States, they dump that ballast water that comes from China and Russia. And in that ballast water can have all sorts of aquatic invasive species. When those aquatic invasive species get to the United States, the weather is the same, the climate and weather is the same, The water is the same. What's not the same is that these aquatic invasive species do not have anything that prey upon them that can keep their populations in check, and often their populations grow out of control. Aquatic invasive species are widely thought to be the largest or most significant threat to our aquatic resources because they can overpopulate a water system or a watershed or an aquatic resource. And when they do this, they can force out the native plants, animals, fish, and cause harm to the food chains and food webs. So they get to the United States by large ocean-going ships, and when they get here, they cause big trouble. Now you might ask, well, why can't we just remove them? Well, when aquatic invasive species are introduced, they're very, very difficult to remove. Almost impossible once their populations become established. Sometimes we can keep them in control, but we never really get rid of them totally. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do this activity called Clean Boat, Dirty Boat. I'm going to show you how they spread. Once the aquatic invasive species get to the United States or Montana, they're spread by people who like to go boating and fishing. Do you guys like to go boating and fishing? I know you do. I sure do. I have a drift boat. I have a raft. And every single time that I finish boating or fishing, I take my boat or my drift boat or my raft to the car wash to clean it, to get the aquatic invasive species that could potentially be on there rinsed off. Today, the watercraft we're going to use to show in this exercise is a little tiny plastic jet ski. Now, what I have here is I have two water bodies. Let's just call this Fort Peck Reservoir, and we'll call this Flathead Lake, okay? Now, we know on the Montana map that these are spread way further apart than 12 inches, but let's just pretend that a person goes jet skiing in Fort Peck over here. Now, we know that Fort Peck has Eurasian water milfoil in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my simulated aquatic invasive species and I'm going to sprinkle this in Fort Peck. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle this in Fort Peck. So there's our Eurasian water milfoil. It's in Fort Peck. Now, in Flathead Lake, we do not have Eurasian water milfoil, but let's just say that we take our jet ski, and if you can see the bottom of this jet ski, this jet ski is clean. There is no debris on this boat. There aren't any invasive species. It's a clean watercraft. Now, if we take this watercraft and if we go to Fort Peck and if we go jet skiing for a day and have fun with our friends and family, and if we take our jet ski out of the water, we could pick up Eurasian water milfoil or any other variety of aquatic invasive species on our watercraft. Now, if I take this watercraft to Flathead Lake, do you guys think this is going to cause problems? Sure it will. Do you think that we're going to get Eurasian water milfoil possibly in Flathead Lake? Very strong possibility. So do we want to leave this boat dirty or do we want to clean it? Sure, we want to clean it. So I have a little bit of water right here, and I'm going to pretend like this is the car wash. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my jet ski that has invasive species clinging to it, hitchhiking on this, so that we're not a vector of spread to a lake that does not have Eurasian milfoil. So I'm going to the car wash. I'm going to rinse off and clean. There. Now my boat is clean. Now there's two other parts to making sure that you don't spread aquatic invasive species. It's draining and drying. Draining. A lot of watercraft have in places in the boat that hold water. It could be the bilge, which is back kind of by the motor at the transom of the boat. It could be in a fishing boat, like a bass boat or a walleye boat. It could be storage tanks of water that could hold live bait or a live well that holds water that could hold your fish and keep them alive and fresh after you catch them. Now, there's other places too on the boat that could hold invasive species: the motor, the propeller, the anchor rope, the oars, the paddles, the boat trailer itself. So you want to make sure after you're done fishing and boating that everything is clean, that there's nothing hitchhiking on the boat so that we're not vectors for spread. So you want to drain all that stuff off, drain all that water out before you go to a new water body, and then you want to dry. I'm going to use this little towel to show that. Aquatic invasive species need water to survive. Some aquatic invasives can live outside of water for quite a while, but if your watercraft is dry, that also will kill those aquatic invasive species, so you're not a vector for spread. So now we have a clean boat, and now this boat is safe to take to Flathead Lake, and we don't have any risk of spreading aquatic invasive species to Flathead Lake. Now, let's do the activity over. Let's just say that we go to Fort Peck and we go boating for the day, and we get aquatic invasive species on our watercraft, and if we don't clean it, and if we go to Flathead Lake and go motorboating and jet skiing, now we have aquatic invasive species that have fallen off of our watercraft into Flathead Lake, a possible introduction of aquatic invasive species, and this dirty boat has become a vector for spread. So please, after every single use, clean, drain, and dry your watercraft so you are not a vector for spread for aquatic invasive species. And that's clean boat, dirty boat. It's a fun activity that you can do in the classroom, that you can use with a conservation group or a fishing club, that shows how aquatic invasive species are spread, and tells and shows people the importance of cleaning, draining, and drying your watercraft every time so that we keep our water clean of aquatic invasive species. We'd like to thank you today for watching this demonstration of the activity Clean Boat, Dirty Boat. Remember, if you want to learn more about aquatic invasive species, we invite you to visit our websites for Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks and Invasive Species Action Network listed below.